Good, we're live. Okay, so welcome everybody. We're back again. Woodstock Trading Company's little incense discussions. Came back from our little trip, which was really a blast. It's an amazing experience. Kudos to all you glass blowers out there. You're an amazing bunch, and proud to be part of the whole scene. We tinker around. We make some glass beads and glass beads, things like that. And so we just got back from an amazing trip um, of nothing but flamework glass making of various objects, and it's just been absolutely incredible. So to be back, we're still recovering a little bit, but it was a great experience. And so anyway, since then, oh right, we have a little kind of a wonderfully shameless plug. I love this. I'm surrounded by really good pluggers, if you will. I'm not one of them.
Woodstock.
But we
Woodstock.
finally have promotional items, which we're really, strangely proud of. You can see, right? So anyway, these are our T-shirts, which is pretty wild. We only once before really did these, and we really didn't. We kind of underestimated that people would really kind of dig these, because we pretty much just wore them. So we got these from small to at
3X.
least 3X. We
Right.
might be able to get bigger sizes. I don't know. And they are as of now
$10.
$10. T-shirt for $10. Come on, guys. Anyway, so if you're interested, reach us.
They have
Either
to call
you have to call
or email.
or email. Okay, call us. We're 856-424-6166. And you can email us wtc@woodstocktradeco.com, or you can do web-based mail. You can find us woodstocktradeco.com,
on Facebook.
and you can also get us on Facebook. So the whole internet thing. It's pretty involved. Oh, let me give you this back. Right, it's my color, but not my size. So anyway, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of beautiful incenses and things. Wanted to bring up that if any of these kind of interest you, if you're fascinated, or you like the description of some of these or whatever, if you want to sample, please, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. We'll send you out some samples. Make sure you write down what you're interested in. If you don't know and you just say, I don't know, send me some cool stuff, or even a general idea like, oh, I really like Nag Champa. What do you have that's really cool? Or what have you. So you can do that, and we'll send you some really nifty stuff. It's kind of, we like to do it. It's not just that we want, we actually enjoy turning people on to incenses that maybe they've never had before. So where we're picking up from last time, yes, we have
Let's not pick up, Dr. Seth.
Yes.
Let's talk about the future. We have our next incense workshop. It's on a very auspicious day.
Yeah, it's going to be on September 11th. I know.
9/11, but we are going to celebrate being together and being able to bring you nice things.
So yeah, it just happened to fall on that day, and so we're like, you know what, we're gonna do our best. Life goes on. So we're gonna begin with, and this really worked out so well that I'm really glad I didn't do this last month. The Shantamalai Nag Champa.
What number?
This is number 56. The Shantamalai is a philanthropic trust in India whose mission is to educate, to teach people to be literate, computer savvy, things like that, how to do many, many things that otherwise they're incapable of doing, particularly unwed mothers, the disabled, etc. So they raise their money through a variety of ways, one of which being the manufacturing of some really excellent incenses. They make a Nag Champa, which brings up a point. Most people, when they say Nag Champa, they think of only one particular Nag Champa, the blue box Srinivas Sugandhalaya Nag Champa, which has evolved tremendously over the course of time, particularly within the last 15 years or so. It really in no way resembles the Nag Champa that I remember, or most people my age or older remember, that was available in the 70s, 80s, even through the early 90s. And so we're kind of frustrated by that. But because of this change, it sort of opened the door for the opportunity of other Champa incenses. Nag Champa is not a proprietary term to Srinivasa Sugandhalaya. It's a type of incense. The key to a Champa incense is a specific material called halmadi, which is kind of this sticky, gunky stuff that has very distinctive fragrance. And as of now, I don't believe Srinivasa's Nag Champa contains much, if any, halmadi, which is really the defining ingredient of a champa. Okay, so one of the reactions to that change was the formulation of Shantamalai Nag Champa, which is a true old-style champa incense. But for those people who know Srinivasa's Blue Box Nag Champa, will notice significant differences. The Shantamalai Nag Champa, sometimes you'll hear it referred to as Red Box Nag Champa. It's often found in these long red boxes. And in fact, the original packaging of this had that the old Indian logo that was basically it was a swastika, looking at backward swastika, but actually was a forward swastika, and it kind of caused some cultural misunderstandings, and so they made some changes to that. I still have some of the old boxes left, which are really interesting. So it's a much drier, much less aromatic fragrance, and the thing you'll notice instantly is a fragrance to it that is akin to heat. I can describe the fragrance of when you turn your heat on in the beginning of fall or something, the first really cold day. You'll notice the smell of heat. Or ozone, something kind of like ozone. Shantamalai Nag Champa also has evolved considerably over time and actually has become simpler and less aromatic over time, and I think in some ways actually even better because it's finding its voice. Originally, it was an attempt to duplicate the original Srinivasa Nag Champa, which it did a fairly good job of, but that's all it was, and it was grossly limited at that. But now they've gotten bolder and actually made some changes and made it much darker and more primitive of a fragrance and less aromatic, and I think a lot more sophisticated. And for people that really enjoy a fragrance like that, and this is why I'm really happy I didn't do this last week, because we got in some new Champa incenses. They're not new, but they're new to us, mostly because I really could not find a good source. So these are new, and I'll show you some new ones and some old ones. This one does not, as of yet, have a number.
Dr. Seth,
yes.
Talking about new sources, I think we should let people know that we found a new source for such a super hit.
Such a super hit.
And we can reduce the price.
I can knock the 100-gram boxes down. They were 12. I can knock them down now to 10. Which I'm really happy about because, yes, I can.
Yeah, we haven't changed it on the website yet, but if anybody orders it, we can. Fortunately, we're a small family-owned store, and we can actually write the changes.
Yeah, we can change things as we like to. We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams. Our snozberries taste like snozberries.
Are you still eating the snozberries?
So some of these are relatively new for us, only because I just could not find a source for them. And now I've been successful. A couple of these I've been looking for a few years. This one here is the Om Nag Champa, which as of yet does not have a number, but that's okay. You can still, call us or whatever, and you can order it either. It's going to have a number fairly soon, maybe even by the end of next week, we're hoping. So going back to the notion of halmadi-based Nag Champas, we're seeing a renaissance of halmadi-based Nag Champas. Sometimes you hear the term frangipani. It's another term for halmadi. It's a sappy, sticky stuff. And it's also, you can really tell when an incense contains it very often, or at least a significant portion. You look at the sticks, and they'll appear to be a little damp, or they'll be darkish in color, and they'll sometimes feel a little soft or doughy. Like here, I can put an impression in it with my fingernail, so it's kind of, it never quite dries out. Halmati has a property that it draws moisture in from the air. Um, so they never, a good true Halmati incense, very often you'll notice, it'll often appear to be damp, or it'll feel damp. Some of them um, will actually even have spots of mold on them, which really is not a bad thing. Some incenses in particular even get better when they're moldy.
How
Yeah.
much is the Nocturne?
These are, it's the, I think they were $2, I believe, for 15 grams, and you're putting me on the spot, and the 50 gram packs,
That's a 40 gram.
40 gram packs are $4. So it's comparable in price to regular Nag Champas, but now we're starting to get back into what Champa incenses were all about and what their initial intent was. So now we're getting closer and closer to old Srinivasa's Nag Champa. Again, it's not quite as bright, slightly darker than the original Srinivas Nag Champa, but this is what Nag Champas used to be like before Srinivas formulated his Nag Champa. So what really, the silver changing so much, the opportunity for other old style champas and true champas to come back again and show people what these old incenses were all about. This one here, now when we say true champas, we really are talking about stuff like this. This is Niti Raj.
Is this also new to us?
This is new. This is going to have a number. It's going to be number 213, I believe. This is a large box. It's moderately expensive. I don't remember the price. I think it was a 10 gram pack. Was, I think, $2, something like that. Niti Raj. This is a true old style champa. It's practically defining of the class of incense. And I haven't had one like this since, I'm going to show you some of the others, Sairanjani and Raj Lakshmi. These are all champa incenses. This is why I'm so happy I didn't mention Shantamalai last month. It gave me an opportunity to show you these two really new champas. They're new to me here in the store. I've been buying them in little stores for years now, particularly the Niti Raj, just because I could not find a distributor, but I was buying for myself. I'm surrounded by incense. I have more incense than I could possibly burn in my lifetime, and yet there still are some that I cannot find source for. In fact, if there's anybody out there who knows where I can find Happy Harry line, it's Hari, Happy, Happy, Hari. If I can find his line, he does here in America. If there's anybody distributing them here in America, let me know. Give me a call. I'd love to find it. So now we're talking true frangipani. Okay, now that also the term frangipani, you'll even hear the word plumeria. Refers to plumeria, a specific plant.
Do you have a number?
Nag Champa. The Niti Raj is probably going to be 213, number 213. That's what it's lined up to be. I don't remember what it's replacing. It was an item that we couldn't get anymore. I don't remember offhand. But this is a bit more aromatic than the Om Nag Champa. This has the smell of head shops, the old 70s head shops. If you ever walked into those, a certain smell in the air, the black lights, right? And this fragrance. Very, very similar. You know, I should have brought out Rose Durbar to show that. I didn't actually grab that. Um, this is a true Frangipani Halmati. And this type of incense, I thought had pretty much disappeared except for just a couple of different varieties. And I'm really, really, really happy that I'm able to carry this. Niti Raj.
213 used to be such a super magur.
Magra, yeah, I can't find that anymore. It was a nice fragrance, but comparatively, Niti Raj is so much. It's just so amazing and so powerful. How to describe? Okay, it's relatively sweet, mildly floral, but it has a certain amber-like, almost a little bit honey dust fragrance. Basically, if you've ever used Nagchampa before 93, 92, it's very, very, very similar to that, but a little bit deeper, a little bit darker, and it's so very, very true to when you want a Champa incense again, you're able to get this. In fact, more now than ever before.
Is that Frangipani?
Frangipani. Now, I'm glad you mentioned Frangipani.
You're talking about the
Niti Raj.
Niti Raj.
Now, Frangipani Flora, that's item number 11. Okay, that is an item that we haven't had in the store. It's made by the same people that make Champaka, which is outrageous flavor, outrageous fragrance. It's an over-the-top, slightly aggressive, just really, really powerful aromatic, very masculine kind of aftershave-y kind of thing going on. It's really, really amazing. They also make, some people call it Nagchampa Flora. I've simply referred to it as Mars Choice, M-A-R-S, Mars Choice, like the planet, and the artist. So they also make a fragrance called Frangipani Flora, and that's item number 11. And we haven't had it for a couple of years, or at least a year. I don't know about a couple of years, but at least a year. And we were just so saddened when we couldn't get it because it's a true, real old Champa that. Yes.
On our list, we have it as Frangipani.
Frangipani.
Is that sufficient?
Yeah, Frangipani.
Okay.
It's.
Okay.
There are other Frangipani incenses, but they're really just called Frangipani for the most part. Most of them really do not contain any Frangipani. This is a true Frangipani / Halmati. Same thing. They're interchangeable. But since we were talking about old Champa incenses, Raj Lakshmi comes up, and I believe it's 144. 144. Yeah. Glad I got somebody to keep me in check. All right. As Nagchampa kept changing, the Srinivas Nagchampa kept changing. Raj Lakshmi kept staying the same. And as the availability of true Champas were becoming harder and harder to get, this one stood fast with only one exception. They had one batch that was very, very unusual. Never got it again. It was a very deep, dark, heavy, Halmati, wet batch that I wish I could get again. But, okay. So.
Is it still $2 for 20 grams?
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
$5 for 55
right.
grams.
Same pricing structure as 1988.
Wow, hasn't changed.
No, hasn't changed. So it's considerably lighter and brighter than the Niti Raj, and it has a certain slightly camphorous, almost here I'll show you, almost kind of an aftershave or shaving cream, right? Like shaving cream, like old shaving cream.
It's got like a vanilla.
Yeah, oh, sure. Well, they were smelling the Halmati. The Halmati people describe as sort of a floral, vanilla, sandalwoody, ambery
Delicious.
kind of a fragrance. True Halmati has that fragrance to it. It's not much to look at as a material. It just looks like gunk. I think the term Frangipani refers to something like boiled milk or scalded milk, something like that. I don't know the derivation of the term Frangipani, but it's more descriptive of what it looks like than what it smells like. Halmadi, if you want to find out, it's Halmadddi, I believe is the spelling. So if you want to look that up, you'll see. It's also really hard to get as a raw material, which is probably one of the reasons why Srinivas and Nakchampa changed so much. The demand for it was so large that they just couldn't keep up. But these smaller outfits have been able to maintain. Since we're still on the subject, these old champas, and don't worry, this subject is really worth the time because you can really just explore champas, and there's still dozens more that I know about I can't seem to find. Once again, that Happy Harry thing, if anybody can score me a distributor in America for Happy Harry, I'd love that. Golden Nakchampa, beautiful. Sairanjani.
What number?
Sairanjani is number 233. This and the Raj Lakshmi were the holdouts for many years of True Champa incenses once Srinivas's Nakchampa changed. This one it's very similar to the Niti Raj, but it's much earthier still. Much earthier still. It has a loam-like quality. I know we've mentioned it before in previous discussions when we were talking about champa incenses and things of this nature. So you may hear similar descriptions. Frankincense, something slightly lemony. We probably mentioned that more than once. Something super clean about it that I only describe as, if you've ever been in a room with an indoor swimming pool. It's not necessarily the chlorine. Maybe it is the chlorine, but there's a certain smell in the air. It's extraordinarily clean that comes with this. It's also a little bit mossy, a little bit loamy, but not really what I would call musty. See, you'll catch a little lemon note to it, which I believe is frankincense, right? That might be what I'm smelling. Or something like vetiver. Vetiver you'll smell. It's kind of like patchouli, lemon, resinous, buttery kind of a thing. Diacetyl acetate, something.
It's a little bit of an acrid.
Okay. Could be the frankincense you're picking up. Frankincense, when it burns, can be acrid. Particularly if it burns too quickly. That's why whenever I burn frankincense...
When would you recommend the use of this particular fragrance?
I use it all day.
It's just something...
I use it all day.
Yeah.
I used to burn this when I was more into like lifting weights. I used to, in the basement, I actually used to light this in the basement. But it works well with basementy smells. Because it itself has kind of an earthy, kind of cool, slightly damp quality.
So it doesn't interfere with activity.
No, it's good for labor.
It doesn't enhance them. It's just there.
Yeah, it was there.
Background.
Yeah, it was just something to distract my brain from the pains of lifting weights, I guess.
It's
I
just
haven't done that in years.
It's just enough of an intrusion to not be an intrusion.
Yeah, it's just something other than the basement air. It's just because no smell or whatever is really very fatiguing. So those are some champas. I have a bunch more, but if you want to get a nice little sampler of champas, send us a self-addressed envelope. We'll give you the address. It's Woodstock Trading Company.
There's a sheet.
That's all right. We can tell it. Woodstock Trading Company, 1880 Route 70 East, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 08003. So we're gonna. I have other champas, but we have to. I'm gonna show you another durbar, which by construction is related to champa incenses, except they don't contain Halmadddi. This one here is really very strange. Even the packaging. It's a Naga brand Dragon Durbar.
What number?
This is number 57. Yeah. This took me many years to find, and many of the incenses that it is similar to have have long since disappeared. I had one, it was called Green Temple, which was quite similar to this. I wouldn't be surprised if it was made by the same company, same manufacturer, because the sticks look very, very similar. They're made in this very, very tiny outfit. They didn't manufacture very, very much.
Sticks are very thick.
Oh, they're very, very thick, and they burn a long time. And at first I was a little intimidated, by its thickness and by initially my first reaction to this fragrance is so strange. It reminds me kind of the old department stores where they had potpourri, over here and scented candles over there. It's a little bit smoky, but you're going to get a lot of cinnamon and clove, and again, something in there that will remind you of heat and ozone. Something slightly, like candle waxy, like scented candles, like the old scented candles that you used to get like in department stores.
Definitely potpourri.
Yeah, potpourri.
I think the color even makes you think of potpourri.
It's so strange. It would be a good festive fragrance, probably be a good holiday item. Clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, something piney.
Yeah, over hot buttered rum.
It's a really strange fragrance, and then on top of it, the smell of radiant heat and ozone.
Cozy.
It took me
Homey.
a while. It's also slightly bitter.
Yeah.
In it too, which is very, very clean, because really, if all I got was cinnamon and clove and nutmeg, it would be kind of cloying and too sweet. And this way, there's something that really cleanses. It's like
balance.
Yeah, it's like a big elf factory, Like this would be what Santa's workshop would smell like, probably. Right? It's really, it's the most unusual fragrance, and it startled me at first. I was intimidated by the packaging and the thickness of the stick and all this. I was expecting something really genuinely, aggressive and alien. It is a little alien, I won't deny that. But instead, I got something actually very soft and gentle and kind of poetic in its peculiar way. So people that like this often, I find them liking. This one here was a real accidental find. This is called Onsai, item number 123. It was a real accidental find. Here in New Jersey, we have an area, it's called like Edison, Islin, New Jersey, which has a very large Indian population, and I love going to the grocery stores there. Fantastic. So I found this incense there. It was burning. I was curious what it was. And I asked the fellow. He shows me the packaging. I said, wow, I'd love to find a wholesale source for this. So I sent some of it to some friends that are in the biz, and they found it for me. I was very, very happy. Sometimes it is called Hare Krishna Flexo incense. Comes in these unusual kind of foil purple lavender boxes. It's very strange. But people that like the knockout brand Durbar often like this for similar reasons. It's a bit fruitier, a bit lighter, a bit brighter. It is somewhat bittersweet. There is, again, a bitter edge to this that really, really balances a kind of fruity fragrance. It's very peculiar. Oh, got a phone call? Okay. So this is worth a try just because it's unlike any other incense you've probably ever had before. This is pretty alien stuff, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Take some time, give it some time. You will like it. It's a fragrance you want some distance between yourself and it. If you smell the smoke directly, it'll be quite bitter. And it will have a bit of a burning smell that you might find disagreeable. But if you put a little distance between yourself and the stick, then you're going to get that bright, ethereal, fruity quality. Now, to go even further down into some of the darker stuff, people that like the Naga Durbar also very often like some things that are quite bitter, like, it's tough to open. I'm the one that closed it. This is called Shiv Ranjani. For many years we referred to, and we still do refer to it, as Nagchampa's bitter sister. Interesting description. I wrote that in like 1988. Okay, I'm not going to withdraw that. I won't withdraw that. I think one of the reasons I called it that was we didn't have that many incenses to compare one to the other to. So I think we had about 7 or 8 incenses. So I needed a description for it and to help other people understand. So I compared it to Nagchampa, just as I did one called Govinda. So I called it Nagchampa's sweeter sister. Sadly, I can't get Govinda anymore, but I have basically a clone of it, so which is good. Anyway, so this is Shiv Ranjani. This is a hot, somewhat bitter, somewhat dark, super clean fragrance. It is not aromatic. If you're expecting florals, if you're expecting ambers, and you're expecting all of these things, that's not what's here. This is a fragrance whose real strength and real potency is in what it isn't as much as what it is. But you'll smell a super clean summer ozone and heat and kind of humidity. It's kind of a warm, damp heat fragrance. Slightly earthy. Here, this is Shiv Ranjani. This is one of the first incenses we carried. And really, its number would ordinarily, did I even give a number? I don't think. Did I even mention a number? Okay. Naga Durbar. This is Shiv Ranjani's number 39. So really, the number would ordinarily be much, much lower than that. It's just by the time we thought to actually number these,